Hello and welcome to this podcast, YouTube Promoting. I'm Stephen and this is the start of season 2. I'm here with Neil and Poppy, and what we're going to do is go through some questions about our experiences, about a perspective from last year, as it has just been 1 year since this month here. July 2024 is when we started. So we're going to go through some questions today, and I'd just like to ask, from last year, what were you thinking? Like, any fears or anything that your thought process when we started this podcast?
I didn't want to do it.
I didn't want to do it. No.
What was the reason why?
I think just the permanency of like a video that's going to be uploaded, and that after it's video, Neil and I have like no control of what happens to it and what actually gets uploaded. There's that unknown and uncertainty. What bits will you pick out? Will it be a bit that we particularly hated, like filming, that we thought was like cringy or maybe didn't sound as eloquent as we wanted to or intended? But just that it was something so new to both of us. It's definitely something I had no experience of doing going into. So just, that unknown and that uncomfortableness. So
it took you both out of your comfort zone, would you say? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to be judged by it. And I still don't. There's always that human nature aspect of stuff, of that fear of how you're going to be perceived, how you're going to be interpreted, what's people going to think about your content, what you're saying about it, disagreeing comments. You don't really want to set yourself up for scrutiny like that.
No.
And it really is. And you know that you don't have that experience or that professionalism in the arena. And you're going, well, how bad is it going to be? And then how bad can it be?
It was bad at the start.
It is a lot different because before this here, you'll be more used to, you'll be able to do your work. It's behind the scenes, behind the camera. But now that you put yourselves on the platform, as you mentioned before, you got the fear of eyes on you, listen to every word that you say. And as we continue to do this, I believe that the confidence has actually built up. And I'd just like to ask then, in comparison with the early videos, was there any recurring issues or any themes during the production of it about how you would communicate on camera, or what would there be any issues that you may think of?
Well, I would say I think we both. I think there was a moment last year whereby we were sort of struggling to come together in terms of what we were saying.
Yeah.
There's this element of planning the video out and then actually being spontaneous. And I think unless you're actually behind the camera, as we were, everybody's telling you what to do and what to say and how to think and whatever. And it's so difficult because you know that you have to be able to communicate in a way that people find engaging. They don't want a script.
Yeah.
It has to be authentic. It has to be real. So you know that you have to go with that. But then it's so nerve-wracking being behind the camera because you've got multiple dimensions going on, haven't you? You've got you in the camera, that is looking at it from a timing perspective. You've got somebody taking pictures around you for stills. You've got the camera up above you to the left looking down as you're trying to coordinate and sync what it is that you're doing, because there has to be an activity and a purpose behind what the video is and why you're doing it. And I think the moment for us was whenever we were struggling, we were going on too long with it.
Yeah.
And you said that I would interrupt with it, and I said, that's because I want to protect you because you feel so nervous.
Yeah.
And I think once we actually started laughing a little bit about it a bit more, taking ourselves not so seriously, and treating one as a throwaway one at the start, because you're always cold when you come in. something is, you've gone away home, you're coming back in. It takes a while to sort of heat up to it, doesn't it? So I think for me, the eureka moment was like just sort of saying, I'm not protecting you by trying to protect you. I'm just like letting you assert yourself and letting you be yourself in the videos.
Yeah.
Was there a eureka moment for you with that in terms of?
I think there was sort of similar to what you said, but it maybe took longer. And I think if it was maybe 3 or 4 weeks in before we became comfortable as like an us, where I maybe had tracked your train of thought and knew the purpose, and that then we like bounced off each other, that whenever I felt like comfortable enough to like hop in and talk enough, and then you knew when to like pull back whenever I was going in, but also definitely the timing. Because I think at the start there was just a lot of uncomfortable, nervous rambling that no one ever was going to be interested, or it was any practicality to it at all from any level.
But that's just us being perfectionists, and that's just us being very critical of ourselves, because both of our personalities would be very critical of we want to be really good at something, and we don't want to we don't want to appear bad, so we just keep practicing, we just keep doing things. So I think that was a difficult aspect, that we weren't instantly good at it, and it really annoyed us actually.
I think the planning, because we initially went in with like each video would be able to be cut into 2 or 3, so we were trying to talk about loads of things, but maybe you were in a completely different train of thought to I was, and it was like all the trains were crashing instead of chugging along. But then as we got them more condensed and we did get into the flow of things, it definitely became easier as they became better.
Yeah, the early ones were too long.
Yeah.
Because we were sort of like, I think we were sort of like trying to see a number of things that actually were working. And we were sort of like going, well, it's the videographer. And the videographer was like, I know that the Lee now is like, he had to cut them, and it's like, can you imagine half an hour? I think we did 60 videos.
Yes, we did.
60 videos, and our target was to do around about 10 per day, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
And the objective was to actually try to do them in, I think we had said less than 10 minutes or so.
Yes.
How many of them do we remember? How many of them were actually less than 10 minutes?
Can't remember an exact number here, but there was a few.
I think we got to that.
There was at the start. There was one that like the first half was like over 40 minutes, and we still hadn't been to the wrap up.
Sometimes it was more than 40 minutes. Sometimes it was about an hour.
But when you actually look at that, what was actually happening was within that first season was a lot of iterative improvements. Even from from the start of the season to the end of the season, the improvement in how we did stuff was quite dramatic, and here we are coming back in season 2, and we've got that experience, and I think there's that sort of learning was short-term recollection, and it showed improvement. It will be interesting to see what it's like with long-term recollection.
I think this year I think it'll take me longer to warm up than you, because like I'm being plopped in.
Yes.
Like I haven't been here in a year.
Yeah.
And I haven't really been in that like mindset. So I think it'll take me longer again to like warm up and be comfortable again with it.
Yeah, if you do it consistently, then I think your confidence will build, and you'll be able to talk better, you answer better, and
I think it'll be interesting in terms of patterns which you'll be able to draw back on from long-term memory. How we felt, what we experienced at that time, the nervousness, the fears, the happiness, the joy, the satisfaction, the triumphalism of it getting done successfully.
I think recognizing the areas that you have shortfalls in at the beginning, and then be able to improve on that, really help the quality of the podcast and any future videos. And going from that there, I'm sure a lot of people would like to know, who are listening to this, is what was the intention of making these podcasts? What was the intention of making these videos?
What do you think it was? What do you think I was trying to do? Why do you think I was like bringing you in to, what was my intention?
So my understanding of it is like marketing without marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So like all the different platforms, as you very kindly put it, touching people in lots of different like places. Like you've got Instagram, you've got Facebook, you've got YouTube, wherever it might be. But instead of like channeling everything and all of your resources into one avenue, splitting it up, and the more people that see it from different places, your business becomes more like authentically like appearing on like Google, like if people are looking for like what we offer.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like it's the natural development from SEO. I think a lot of e-commerce it suited SEO. It was like a best practice type of way, and it suited multiple different approaches to different channels. And I think what we were trying to do last year with the video was sort of to say, look, there's there's multiple ways that people can engage with your business. And if Google was taking it down the route of being a direct marketer par excellence, and then spreading out into maximize clicks, performance max, cross-network selling, that rather than going down that channel alone through the Google platform, was to come at it from a variety of different angles, because that's how people is shopping anyway. They're researching things through YouTube, through TikTok or whatever. You know, there's the attention span is not as long as what it was 5 years ago, 2 years ago, or whatever. So it was to basically create like more of a multi-channel way of people being able to know about your brand, that it exists there. Because I think, and you can see here with AI coming along, without a brand, building a brand is so expensive. Without a brand thinking, you cannot possibly rank in the AI summaries. And if you don't rank, and if you can't be found, you can't sell anything. If you can't sell anything, you cease to exist. There's no point to you operating. You need customers, and you need customers to be able to find you. So YouTube was something that we had a YouTube channel since 2013, but it had been used purely as sort of like it wasn't used strategically. It wasn't used, for the long-term planning of the organization in terms of its branding and visibility and whatever, because it was like, it was lower down the risk, lower down the prioritization. Whereas the plan, whenever we were doing the videos last year, was to sort of strategize it. And you'll see that strategy coming into play through the purposes of this season, particularly vis-a-vis small businesses and how they utilize and operate it. Because a lot of small businesses are saying, well, that's all very interesting, all of these data and metrics, but how do I apply that to my product? So we're using it as like, well, this is us, how we're using it for our product, and how other small businesses can use it for theirs. Mm-hmm. A second reason for doing the YouTube was the human, the people aspect of stuff. As you go through this AI evolution, and automation and whatever, simply typing things isn't fast enough. You need to speak it. There needs to be more talk and discussion about your business that can be turned into JSONs and data structure. So this communication here can be fed in and support a transformer in terms of what's the next predicted word or whatever. It brings a diversity. It brings an unusuality to your business. It means that there's more of a discussion field about that business and its place within society, rather than it just being about money. So there was a number of reasons why we did it, apart from obviously the opportunity to work with you. But there was a time-defined project purpose behind it. I knew that I could dedicate X amount of time over the summertime to it, and that hopefully the iterative improvement would be something that we could strategically manage and bring into our business. And you're going to see us do that this season. And hopefully that's going to help all of us.
Yeah.
As we hear a lot about AI, we hear about but we're utilizing it, we're using tools and whatever. How are we going to harness it for our own purposes, our own personal agenda?
Okay, no, that's perfect. The implementation of these here videos to help getting more in the search rankings and such. And since we've been doing it from July, I just want to find out more about your achievements from the production of these here videos. What would you say would be your biggest achievements that you've accomplished throughout these?
I think first would be like the confidence. I've been able to talk and I can explain and I can give instructions. That's what I do every day. But this was a complete different angle and something that I hadn't done. So like the confidence that whenever at the start, like we said, like the first video was almost like a write-off in the morning while you warmed up. But as, we progressed through the summer and the weeks of videoing, it did become more natural to both of us. Like we could come in first thing in the morning and it would be just as good, if not better, while we were fresh then than at the end of the day, whenever we were more tired. So that would definitely be one. Another achievement, I'm struggling. Have you got any? Come back to me.
Let's hit it with a number. Because a lot of people watching this are small businesses and working out how much of AI they should be applying and implementing. So let's look at it from a number. Well, up until this time last year, going back 365 days or whatever, we were getting 30,000 views pretty much in the course of a year, whereas now we're getting 120,000 views. So there's been a 4 times increase in the number of people viewing our content to do with baskets galore. That has a big impact. Look, I'm not saying that that's going to make you a lot of money, because I think you take off a couple of those zeros in terms of conversion metrics as a business. What does it actually convert through to your bottom line? I think it produces very little, if anything, but it is increasing your brand awareness. It is keeping you within the relevancy filters as well. And I think long term, it's going to be absolutely essential to staying in business, to have so many social factors impacting upon your business. They're almost like votes that this is a real business, rather than it being something that somebody has popped up to make a fast buck on. And I think that the critical evaluation skills of humans is increasing exponentially, to be able to just sort of know that feels false, that is real or whatever. You can't pull the wool over people's eyes as easily as you can. So I think the greatest achievement is that, it's quadrupled the number of people viewing or knowing about your website. And that is, it sounds funny, but that is 90,000 of views that you haven't had to pay for.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the display or cross-network type of stuff, or advertising on other people's content or production or whatever, it's not it's not, I would say, directly targeted marketing sufficiently. There's too much money spent in that field, and it's actually creating a sort of like an invasion of privacy as well in terms of all of these cookies, because it's understood how powerful direct marketing is. And so because of that, there's all of these restrictions on gathering of that data. And I've never wanted to do that. I've never wanted to follow people around the internet. I've never wanted to bring a CRM into the company, which is following people around and trying to anticipate when they're going to buy. I just want to be findable. I want to be here or hereabout, and I want to compete with other businesses on the basis of quality, control, efficiencies, profitability, all of those old school metrics of business. So I would say that's a big achievement to have 90,000 views of your business. Now, some of those people are not going to be interested in buying from you, but they are aware that there is a little hamper company or a gift basket company whereby there's a couple of people talking about how to do these, ones. That is a big achievement commercially. Personally, I think I've got more comfortable speaking into it. I think I've created I've created an ability to maybe summarize things a little bit more. Maybe you would disagree, but I'm interested in it as well. I'm interested in how it can actually advance humanity, how it can advance the communication, rather than it just being about adverts following you around all the time. To me, that seems too mathematically and scientifically clinical. I prefer something which is a little bit more creative, a journey, imagination, something that you can enjoy. And I think that that's the greatest, that would be the greatest personal achievement. And then the biggest commercial achievement is the fact that the number of people finding your business is much higher than if you hadn't have done it. You would maybe be looking too much at science. You threw me in front of the bus there.
I did.
You mentioned it was confidence for you.
Confidence, and again, like communication. I'm like the skills, like my communication skills are very different. The way I like explain things, break things down. So that was definitely a new way. And then third, I think just the progression that we saw. Like I have not watched any of the videos because I don't want to, but I'm sure if we did watch the first ones to the last ones, there would be like a huge difference because like we could feel it. So I'm sure you'd be able to see it.
I think that's a really good one. I think the more you see with AI being just feel. And that's the conventional wisdom, isn't it? Just start and feel. And that's all well and good, people giving that advice. It's like we can all see everybody else's problems, can't we? We can all see what your weakness is. You can see what my weakness, but can we see it ourselves? It tends to be more difficult to do that. So I think we iterated, we failed fast, and we kept on failing spectacularly well. And it's documented. And now we can look back at those failures and say, hey, they're not that bad, because we actually got to a stage whereby we advanced ourselves quite dramatically. And in this season, it's going to be interesting how timely we are, how much more to the point we are. And there'll be a natural, I think, connection from having experienced that last year. And I have used this idea of AI being your application and application being AI, because I do see that in terms of this, yes, just feel, but it becomes almost silly, doesn't it? Whenever you're feeling, and people's almost like deliberately feeling to like go, look how stupid I have been, but I gain a monetization from from being bad at it. You know what I mean? And that'll take you so far. I wanted it to be sustainable. I wanted it to be a a timestamp journey line whereby it's the same people doing it as last year. You're not working here full time. You are following your career path. We've come in here to maintain the continuity. You're full-time teacher.
Yeah.
You've come back in here at the summertime. So it is time defined. You can see that journey of progression.
Yeah, certainly. And from just talking to you both here, we've just learned a bit more about how you develop more personally, as well as how a bit of an effect here, good impact it has on getting awareness of the company. But I just want to go through about what are the 4 key objectives for season 2 here. What is your objectives for this podcast, these videos?
I'll start, will I?
Okay.
So that you can then put your, work around that in terms of what you think you can bring to it. That'd be a good way of doing it.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
the four key objectives that I would like to achieve is that I would like, we had 60 videos created last year, and they followed a titled sort of SE. So we wanted the keywords that we wanted to be found for in the titles, and we were doing a how-to video. So there was like several angles coming into it. There's the personal aspect that we've talked about, but there is a commercial reality to what we're doing. So we wanted 60 videos covering the full range of what it was we were as a company. Lovely. This year, we only want to do 15 videos. That's key objective. All right. And as you can imagine, by reducing the number of videos by 75%, it gives us, I think, an ability to focus in on the 15 videos and probably iteratively get better at them to a point whereby we just feel that's polished and professional.
So it's reducing the quantity but increasing the quality of the content, and then
Okay. The second objective that we want to achieve is that there's to be more of a journey line of us through the podcasts from the start, which is July of 2025. This is the first one going, or looking back whimsically on the previous season, to the completion in the summertime of looking back on what we achieved over that period of time. And instead of, yes, there will be an element of qualitative, how we've advanced on, how we've improved, how we've got things better. That will come out in terms of, the videographers going less time to edit and whatever. But there'll be a quantitative aspect to this.
Yeah.
Okay. And that quantitative aspect will be the increased viewers, engagement metrics, all of the trends that you can see in YouTube. So we'll be critiquing that, not over we'll be saying that from the start to the end, but there will be a faster approach to trend analysis. Would that be fair enough? Because I think that is very important as we move through AI. It's that iterative making things faster and better. And I don't think we were there last year, because we were humans.
Yeah.
And we took longer to do it. And our journey line was one of trusting each other. And I think that you can do it individually, singularly. If you look at YouTube, the people that are advocating the trend analysis tend to be the ones that are a single person doing it, because they are able to critique themselves in real time with nothing else to do. I think once you're looking at other people, you don't want to be too critical. Sure you don't? Like, you don't want to criticize me so much. You're quite happy to, but you don't.
Yeah.
You don't want to. And I think that this key objective of coming out of this one is not to be nasty about what we're about, but to sort of look at the data and say, look at how much more engaging, look at how much fall off reduces as a result of this moment in time, and sort of analyze it like that. And I would like to have, by the end of this season, a sort of like a formula which is the slowest way of losing your audience. Would that be a good way of looking at it? And that's why the podcast within the season will probably be focused in on the quantitative data rather than a repetition of how we feel.
Yeah.
The fourth, we analyze what we've done, and we say, and we're happy with what we've done, and we can say to ourselves, what's the next step? Is there going to be a next step? And when will that next step be? And that also we are excited to take that next step. If we don't come through this season and say, can't wait to next season, can't wait to next summer, 2026, then I think that we will have failed in this season in terms of an objective. Because unless you can enjoy the journey that you're on, what's the point?
Okay.
Based upon those four, what do you think about that?
I think that the reason I'm here is to help you because of the connection. Like the first one would be the connection I have with the company.
Okay.
That I've been here 5 years and I've watched the different processes and I've watched all the different kind of ways that you've explored before. And I've done, most of the roles within. I've done in the office. I've packed in the warehouse. I've now, the past 2 summers, obviously been on the camera, exploring that angle. And that links into the next one, like the connection with you.
Okay.
That you've known me since I was 18. And you've seen me grow as a person the same way I've seen the company grow and change. And that was through, I just finished my A-levels. I've done, 2 degrees through COVID, where we trauma bonded in the warehouse in that scorching heat, packing baskets, a lot of them sympathy baskets. It was a real weird, unusual time to look back on for everybody, obviously for different reasons. I'd say a third reason that you have me here is that communication that I have with you and that talking is something that I'm comfortable with. It's what I do every day. And yes, I've said that kind of contradicts what I've said, but I am learning new skills of communication, but it is something that I did have a base skill of, that it's something that I can explain. I can break things down. And then I'd say the fourth is just the continuation of the project. I was here last year. I'm here this year. And maybe I'll be here next year. You hope.
I think everybody that's involved in small business at this stage, knowing what's coming down the line in terms of AI, automation of business processes, techniques, staffing, I think everybody's thinking to themselves, am I going to be here next year? And I think if you're not, I think that you're not aware of what's coming down the line in terms of Anthropic and ChatGPT and these automation processes. I can't see very many businesses surviving through it. But you've got to try. And I think what I'm keen to do is take small businesses and say, okay, well, what are the stages that you have to go through in order to have a chance of all of these agents swarming over you? Because it's no longer just agents coming across to your website and your content, it's agent swarms. How can we produce and build our own agents? And we are responsible here for building YouTube agents, engagement agents, really, which assist and help us, rather than we are expected to interface with all of these agentic swarms, because they just will overwhelm us with their ability to assimilate data and spit out plays of what they recommend you should do. You should even see it now in terms of trending analysis. Do you follow trending analysis, or do you stick to your own subject matter? And I think that's something that we'll investigate this season, is starting to bring in trending and asking ourselves, well, how far away from our lane do we go in order to expand our reach?
Yeah.
That'd be a good way of summarizing it in terms of our objectives for this season.
Brilliant. Well, unfortunately, that kind of concludes our podcast for today. Just want to thank Neil and Poppy for being on it. And I'm Stephen, and thank you for listening.